Here we go. All right. So we've got, I thank everyone for coming to the virtual meeting today. I hope that we managed to catch everybody and not actually get anybody who drove to the venue and got there to find no one there. I hope that didn't happen, but hopefully we had enough notices out that everybody is here instead. Today's meeting is all about what's going to happen in 2023. I'm going to share the presentation. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
And so Jan is up. She's going to tell us all about what we've arranged for you. Mostly what Jan has arranged for you happening for us in 2023.
Thanks, Linda. So slideshow starting.
I can never find this silly thing. Where is it?
Click on the slideshow at the top.
There we go.
Yep, and then from the beginning. Perfect.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. So getting started. We got a lot of things going on this year. We have speakers from far and wide again, and also workshops from far and wide, and also close at home. But we're also planning to do a little bit of revisiting our roots as London Guild back in the early days. Most our workshops, our meetings, and our demonstrations and teaching and everything else was pretty much within Guild. And we did a lot of that stuff. We took turns researching things and finding out how to do it, then demoing it, and then we had hands-on trying it all out. So we're going to go back to that. We're going to call these full Guild workshops. So whenever you see full Guild workshop on a month, then that means it's that structure for the Guild meeting. Naturally, these are at our Guild meeting dates, and they're, of course, free for all members. So it's like getting a mini workshop for free. And I think we have 4 or 5 of them lined up for the year. I think that's really a wonderful thing to go. The other thing we're going to do is twice during the year, we're going to use the resources that are available on the Modern Quilt Guild. Over the years, we've mentioned all the resources they've had, and at different times we've encouraged people to go and check it out. We're actually going to use 2 of them this year right within our Guild meeting. And even if you've never gone and used any of their resources before, maybe that'll encourage you to look up some more. So it's sort of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. We'll introduce you to some of these resources. We'll use them. We'll pattern a work activity based on them. And then there's lots more that you can go check out yourself. So let's start with February. So February, we have an extended period of time. Linda was able to arrange for us to get the facility from earlier in the morning and then continuing in with the work. So we are using that as our first full Guild workshop. We're going to start out with a webinar from the Modern Quilt Guild. So we're actually going to link into that and show it. We might not go through the whole thing. It's 45 minutes long. It's a great workshop. But once we've gone through about 25 minutes of it, I think we've seen enough then that we can then go on to our activity. And of course, by that point, if you've been watching it and thinking, well, I want to see it right through to the end, it's easy for you to do. So that was our big idea with that one. Okay. The one we're looking at is Rihanna Minardi Morrison. It's called Cropping and Scale. And I actually saw her speaking, lecturing on this at QuiltCon, I think it was 2015. It was the one in Savannah. So, I mean, she absolutely blew my mind. She's amazing. I mean, this is not a picture of her. This is one of her models demonstrating her quilt. But this is the cover of her new book, which is about a year and a half ago. So what the whole idea of this particular webinar was to look at how you can take traditional blocks and turn them into something that's really quite exciting and new by taking parts of them. What she does is she crops and changes scale. We're not exactly going to do this because we're not going to copy her exactly. We're going to be inspired by her. So we're going to watch the webinar, and then we're going to do an in-house activity inspired by Rianne. So what we've got is we're looking at, what if I play with this pattern, whatever this pattern happens to be. In this case, we're going to look at some traditional blocks, probably 4 different easily recognizable quilt blocks, but we're going to use them in a different way. So we're going to play with them. In order to get you to play with them, what you're going to do when you come to Guild, we're also going to set it up so that it'll work for people who can't come to Guild, because it's a long way from Kincardine in February. But so we're going to do both. But for those people who are physically at the facility, you're going to actually get a package of supplies. For those people who are going to be participating from a distance, you're going to get a supply list ahead of time. Unfortunately, you'll have to print your own. Okay, so what your supplies are going to consist of are pieces of quilt blocks printed on cardstock so that they're a little bit maneuverable, and a background in cardstock. You have to bring a glue stick. So you're going to take your pieces. It's a very fun activity, and it's really similar to what Rianne was doing in the sense of, let's do something different with this. Let's not make a Ohio Star. Let's make something entirely new, but we're starting out with, let's say, for instance, the Ohio Star. And that's not one of the ones we're doing. That's just as an example. We're going to work out the project, which will be fun and quite creative. It's amazing how I've done it a couple of times now with different groups, and it's amazing how much people can create from very, very simple shapes. And the shapes are chosen primarily because they've got lots of possibilities, but also because they're super easy to make. So we're going to encourage everybody who comes or is participating from a distance to have some fabric available for you to use, so that after you've played with the shapes, you've played with your layout, you've created your own pattern, all amazing things to do, then you can take your 3 pieces of fabric and create a small, it'll end up being a small wall hanging. You won't get it finished in one day, but we're there for quite a few hours. So you'll get a lot done, and it really works beautifully. To participate in the February workshop, all you have to, if you're in person, all you have to bring is your sewing machine, a pencil and ruler, glue stick, and a little bit of fabric, and the usual things you need to sew with. If you're at home, once again, the glue stick, your machine, a little bit of fabric, but you're also going to have to print the pieces. But you'll get a handout ahead of time, so you've got time to print it. And printing on cardstock is super easy. I get the cardstock at Staples. Any kind of printer will have them. They print up really, really simply. It's a little slow because you don't want to do a whole bunch. It's not like putting paper through your printer. You're not going to just hit 50 and zoom 50 come out. It's a little slower than that, but it's easy, super, super easy. Okay, so that's February. No cost for anybody really, and you can use up fabric you've already got, and you'll get something that's modern, minimalist, and highly graphical. Okay, on to February, or on to March. I'm losing track of my time. Okay, in March, once again, we also have a slightly longer day. So we're going to have a speaker, and Sarah, I've heard Sarah Goer lecture. She's fun. She's very, very peppy and enthusiastic and full of energy and very, very creative. One of the things that she's really been involved in quite a bit are 100-day challenges. I've seen her do a couple of these. So I've been in conversation with Sarah, and she's going to present her ideas on how to get involved in 100-day challenges. And she says a lot of these, when we were originally talking, I was thinking January. And she said, oh, no. People start the 100-day challenge any time of the year, but the one that's most popular seems to be in the spring. People get energetic and the weather's starting to change and they're thinking, I'm ready for a 100-day challenge. So I hope everybody really enjoys this. This is going to be an open lecture, so we'll have guests coming. Members, once again, are free, but please register because it gives us a sense of how many people are going to be coming. All you do when you go on the website, when we have a guest speaker, is register, get your name in there, and no charge involved. So it's super easy. If you have friends who would like to do it, there's a guest charge of $10, which is very reasonable. On to the next slide.
Jan?
Yes.
We changed that so that when we do have guests, our members, we have 100 seats. So we've never filled them up.
They don't have to.
Right, members don't have to pre-register.
Thank you, Linda. That's great. So
Yeah.
okay, that's great. Just spread the news to your friends then.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the next slide.
Sorry, just before.
Yes, question?
So it's a 6-hour workshop and the one in February is how long? When does it start? Is it a 10 till 4 too?
Yes.
Yeah, both February and March, we have 10:30 until 5. But
Thank
the speaker in March, Sarah, the presentation is only for that
Okay.
beginning.
Yeah.
The beginning part of the day. The rest is a sew-in.
Yeah.
Kristen, you have your.
Her workshop is not on the same day as the lecture. So the lecture and the workshop are a week apart.
Right, Kristen, you have your hand raised?
I was just going to say that Jan is correct. The workshop is not on the day of our meeting day. That is the lecture / working on whatever it is you're working on. So it's a totally different day.
Yeah. Okay, so a week after our guild meeting, Sarah has a workshop scheduled with us. It's online on Zoom. She's in California, but she is perfectly happy to start at 10 o'clock in the morning, an extra hour for Linda to have her coffee, and go through till 4. So that's a 6-hour workshop. Aren't you glad you're not in California, Linda, where you'd have to get up at, I have no idea when to start at 10 o'clock, but anyway.
Yeah.
I have seen this workshop and it is, I've actually had a friend who did it some time ago. She's a lot of fun. Her workshop is very encouraging of experimentation. She really encourages you to play with color, and then she says add an ugly, add an oddball, bring something in that's going to just spark everything up. The piecing is relatively simple. She calls it all about angles. So straight line sewing and put stuff together. I've seen partial jobs on her design wall where she's going halfway through things and things like that. It looks wonderful. And she will also include some discussion time about how to quilt these and make your different angles stand out or fade into the background, whichever way you want to move them around. So it's improv in a fairly, I don't like to use the word control because I don't think of improv as ever being really controlled, but it's a planned kind of improv. It's not sit down and grab out of the bag what's going to happen next. You're experimenting, but you're also thinking of where you're going with it. I did a workshop with Cheryl Larkinson about 7 years ago, and she called hers planned improv. And I would say Sarah is very similar to that idea, where you have an idea and you're playing with color and you're playing with placement and you're experimenting with what colors really can clash rather than blend and coordinate. So it's very interesting the way she does it. The workshop from 10 to 4, the cost for members is $70. And she does run these workshops online as individual registration, and she charges more. So this is Canadian, and of course her registrations would be in American dollars on her online workshop. So it is quite a bargain at $70 for members and $85 for non-members. So it's a great workshop. I think everybody who gets into it will really enjoy it. And it is a method-oriented workshop in the sense of you're not following a pattern, you're doing your own thing. Okay, next slide. All right, once again, we are revisiting the Modern Quilt Guild site. Nicole Neblett has a fresh quilting episode on the website called Large Scale Freezer Paper Piecing. It's absolutely awesome. I've looked at it about 4 or 5 times, and she really has brilliant ideas. It's not very long, which is perfect for us, because what we're going to do is we're going to watch the entirety of it, and then we are going to have all the supplies that she talks about in there ready and available for everybody's present. Once again, if you are doing the meeting from a distance, you will get ahead of time a supply list so that you can get. One of the things she uses is paper piecing, but with freezer paper, you also need oversized graph paper. We will have that for you. She has a demonstration that shows her pattern, which is not available. She's not telling you the pattern or giving you the pattern or anything like that. She's just demonstrating it. We're going to come up with about 4 patterns that use large scale thing for anybody who wants to try it and doesn't feel confident about coming with their own pattern. But there's also the option of creating your own pattern ahead of time. So we'll send you out in the newsletter some ideas on that, because part of what Nicole is all about is, okay, you've got a pattern, you've drawn it out on relatively small scale on a, let's say 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. Now what are you going to do it? Because you want a 48-inch wall hanging. Whoa, how are you going to go for that? And she's wonderful about precision piecing, which in her opinion, the best way to do that is with foundation paper. Paper piecing certainly is precise, but really hard when your pieces might end up being 24 inches by 15 inches. That's not easy. That's not going to go through your printer onto 8.5 by 11-inch paper. Freezer paper is in a roll. I've also heard from friends that freezer paper is fiendishly hard to find nowadays in Canada, very hard. You can order it online. Fortunately, I live across the river from Port Huron, Michigan, and the Myers grocery store there has stocks of it. So I'm planning to bring several rolls of it to the Guild that day. We'll have enough freezer paper for everybody, and you can even take some home with you to try it out again. The same thing with the large scale, because part of what her lesson is, and we'll give you a lot of mentoring help so that everybody can have a chance to do this. What Nicole does is she takes a small pattern, she uses the classic artist grid idea to enlarge it so that what you've drawn on the piece of paper as, maybe 4 inches by 6 inches becomes 16 inches by 24 inches. And how do you do that? Where do you go with that? So it's a super fresh quilting episodes. It's a dynamic plan, and it's totally adaptable to all kinds of other patterns that you may choose to do. It's a great technique. I think you'll really enjoy this. Once again, bring a little bit of fabric. All the other supplies are going to be there. You bring your fabric, you bring your sewing machine, and we'll have all the rest of them to make it work for you. So I think you'll really enjoy April. On to May. All right, back to a full Guild workshop. Back to our roots, as it were. Our London Modern Guild member, Mary Veenman, is going to do a demo and lesson on leaf printing on fabric. Now, the picture you see there is a whole bunch of samples that Mary herself has made. It is a super fun activity. It's learning how basically to make your own printed fabric. It's wonderful. So it's a full guild workshop. We'll be there for 3 or 4 hours, working away at this project. What you have to bring is some fabric, and you'll find out ahead of time what's the best kind of fabric to bring. Obviously, something that's going to be a solid, that's easy to print on, and Mary has some suggestions. The other supplies that I've been talking to Mary a bit about this, and she's going to have a list for us, and we are going to get the supplies for you. So if you are here in person in London, your supplies will be available, and you can go ahead and print your own fabric. If you are out of the city, joining us by Zoom, we will make it very accessible. You will get a clear list of the kind of things, if you want to try it, what do you have to purchase ahead of time to make it work, okay? So that's another one of our full guild workshops, free to members. On to June. We have a out of country lecturer, not from the States, she's from England. Sarah Hibbert has a book that was published last year, From Collage to Quilt. And when she means that, she means a paper collage, which she creates with a number of different methods, cutting, pasting, etc., etc., etc. And then after the whole thing is done, she creates a collage of shapes and colors and things and turns it into a pattern. Her method is really interesting. I became so enthusiastic about this. I contacted her when I was visiting family in England, so I had a chance to talk with her. We were all set to get together for some coffee, and the royal family decided to put a spanner in the works and have a huge formal funeral on the day we were going to have coffee. So that didn't work. And but she's a very artistic, creative person. I came home after talking with her and thought, oh, this would be just a dynamite project to do in the guild. But she lives about 30 miles north of London, and paying her to fly over to Canada just to do a workshop with us was a little bit prohibitive. So we're going to have her lecture, and a lot of details and a lot of photos and pictures of all the various things she's done. And I brought home her book. I've got a signed copy for the library. And then I talked to 3 other people in the guild who agreed to join in with the project. And what we decided that we would do is create our own, because Sarah doesn't do Zoom workshops. She says, no, I'm too hands-on a person. I can't cope with that. But I'm going to send her what we're doing, and she's going to give us some feedback on it. So what we're going to do is take copies of the book. There's 4 people involved. We're going to work through the book using her methods over about a 4-month period, 5-month period. And then in June, those 4 people are going to demonstrate and explain how the process works. And then 4 books are going to go into our library. So starting in July, you can borrow those books as much. I'm even putting my personal signed copy into the library so that you can. Then this will be our July full guild workshop again, based on Sarah's book. It'll be totally free to members. It'll be a demonstration, an explanation, some mentoring help. We'll give you ideas at the June meeting for things that you can bring so that you'll get a hands-on experience of cutting up graphics. She bases her work on commercial graphic design. So it's the kind of graphic design that companies use to create logos, or advertisers use to put in glossy magazines, or manufacturers who are selling cereal in the grocery store have the fancy front of the cereal box that's going to grab your eye as you go down. So all of those sort of typographical and design elements and color elements, because what she points out is when you use this kind of a method, somebody has already gone through and created a combination of colors that grab your eye. If you picked it up, it grabbed your eye. And so we're going to see how that works. Now, the picture that's on the screen, this one, the reason I put this one in is because this one is one of her really famous ones. This was a one-page ad in Vogue magazine a few years ago, quite a few years ago, actually. It was for Gap jeans. And the jeans are, she said there were 3 different shades of blue in those jeans, depending on where you were looking, whether it was a pocket, the leg, the whatever, and the background color. And so she tore the ad out of the paper. She cut it up into pieces. She rearranged it. This one is a perfect example of how she uses her technique. This clearly is not the ad that was in the magazine, but it's got all the parts. The parts have been cut apart, rearranged, and then Sarah has a method for how do you use that paper collage of cut up pieces to turn it back into a fabric pattern. So that's what we're going to try and demonstrate in July. And hopefully people will be inspired to try maybe a small version of this. This is, I think, about a 60-inch square quilt. Probably we won't be doing that one, but you know, who knows, you might. So I'm very excited about the volunteer members of our guild who are taking on this project. Okay, on to the next month. I hope you love my graphic. You like that?
I do.
August has nothing. So it's a mystery month, or you could almost say it's a nothing yet, but probably it'll be related to our quilt show. Our quilt show is in September. As the year goes along, there's going to be something that probably the quilt show committee comes up with and says, you know what, we really need to deal with this so that everybody is comfortable with it. So probably what we're doing in August will be related to the quilt show in some way. Okay, on to September, which of course is our quilt show. And thanks to Kristen, who is a good friend of Debbie Grifka, we have Debbie Grifka from Michigan coming in person to our quilt show. And on the Friday evening, when the show closes and the facility is then empty of everything else, except we are then going to have it open back up again because we're going to have Debbie with a lecture. And her quilts are so amazing. They're minimalist. They're very artistic, very creative, evocative of, I've seen her quilts at a couple of different quilt shows, and they really are quite amazing. So she's giving us a lecture on the Friday evening right at our quilt show. And when we advertise for our quilt show, we can remember to mention to people from other guilds who are coming to the show that they can also hang around on the Friday and sign in to the lecture. So the lecture will have a fee of $10 for admission, and that's for everybody. Members, non-members, we're at the quilt show facility, and we have to pay for the facility to open in the evening for us. On to the next slide.
Jan?
Yes.
We should probably note that this is not going to be a lecture that will be available online. It's only in person.
Oh, definitely, yes. It will be right at, it's a live lecture with Quilts demo at our quilt show. And the next slide is on the second day of our quilt show, Debbie is doing a workshop, and she's doing 2 back-to-back workshops on the same topic. There's a couple of reasons for this. Number one, we wanted to have an accessible workshop right in the quilt show facilities. Big quilt shows do that. No reason why we little small guild can do the same thing. So we're going to have workshops right at our quilt show. They're small in the sense of only 3 hours. So if you had signed up to help at the quilt show in the morning, then you could sign up for the workshop in the afternoon, and vice versa. So it's going to be available. we're working out the logistics. We're not like QuiltCon getting a sponsorship from Baby Luck or Bernina or FAF or Janome or anything like that and supplying a room full of machines to use. People will have to bring their own, but we're working out the logistics of having a good secure storage place for people to bring them in, put them in the locked room, go do their thing at the quilt show, then go in and do the workshop. So it will work. And you don't need an awful lot of other things for this particular workshop. As you can see, one is a pillow, the other is a little wall hanging. What you're going to end up with is not something huge, but it is such a unique, I don't think I've seen anyone else doing this kind of applique. Applique basically with almost like bias strips. It's quite unique. I think I saw it for the first time about 5 or 6 years ago, and I immediately went home and tried to do it, and mine turned into a duster. Mine was a disaster. So I'm really looking forward to learning how the right way to do it, because it's really, really quite amazing what she gets out of it. So I think this will be a great, once again, a very technique-oriented workshop where you will learn something new. There is no remote Zoom on this one. This is at our Gilge Quilt Show. On to the next month. Happy Thanksgiving. Linda last year had arranged a separate Saturday sew day because Thanksgiving usually has such a small number of people coming because, you know, family comes home for Thanksgiving, etc. And I believe she's also planning to work on that this year. So really our October meeting is just, you know, have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. On to November. Okay, in November, we have a lecture and a workshop with Audrey Essery. And Audrey is in this photo is sitting in front of one of her quilts. I think in this photo, it looks absolutely spectacular. When you see it in real life, and I did see this one physically, it'll absolutely blow your mind. When anybody I know looking at one of Audrey's quilts, they look at it and think, how on earth did she do that? It's amazing. They are incredibly precise, but also appear to be breaking the rules. They have all kinds of movement in them. This particular one, I can't remember what this one was called. But anyway, as you can see, it's a circle with a whole bunch of key, incredibly precise. And the quilting on top of that is amazing too. So that's our lecturer. I'm really looking forward to hearing what she says. She's been doing this for a number of years, and her quilts would absolutely blow your mind away. So it's an in-guild time workshop on Zoom. We can meet that day at a regular facility, but Audrey will be speaking through Zoom link to the guild. She lives in the southern US. I can't remember whether it's Georgia or South Carolina or something like that. It doesn't matter. She's coming by Zoom. So we wanted to do a workshop. So I wrote to Audrey. I looked at the various workshops she had offered. We came to the decision that this was a really good one to do. She calls it ultraviolet radial. As you can see, it has the techniques of the precise radial piecing. This particular one has 4 blocks. So a participant in the workshop could decide, I really want to learn this method. I want to figure out how on earth does she do this? And if I can get 1 block done, I will give myself a big pat in the back and say, wow, good for you. That's probably sort of what I'll do. Other people who are much more ambitious might possibly get 2 done, 3 or 4. Audrey says that many participants manage to complete several blocks during the workshop. So I'm assuming several means 3 or 4, because 1, she would probably not call me several, and 2 is only halfway. So if it's that accessible, that well, there's an incredible lot you're going to learn then. This is a long workshop, goes from 9:30 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon with a very short break for lunch in the middle. I think she is in the same time zone as us, so there's no conflict there. It's expensive. This is our most expensive workshop provider. She knows her value, which is wonderful. I love it when people know their value. She runs workshops online all the time. She has taught at QuiltCon a few times, and always sells out almost immediately. It's the kind of workshop that, you sign in the very first day, and if you don't get in there till noon, you find, oh, that workshop's full. Oh, so is that one. Oh, darn. So other people are obviously as amazed as I am. I'm looking forward to this one. I think this one should be absolutely a blast to do. And in my opinion, worth the $95, which is pretty steep. But remember, she's from the state, so her fee comes in American dollars. We have to translate into Canadian, and then we have to cover our costs. The nice thing is, nowadays, over the last 3 years, as we've branched into Zoom workshops, we have a much more affordable way of offering these amazing workshops because we don't have to pay the flight from wherever and the accommodation and everything else under the sun. So that's what we're doing in November. All of the workshops, let's see now, Sarah's, Debbie's, and Audrey's, you have to sign up on the website, and we'll hold your spot on that sign up dependent on you paying the fee. So my recommendation is look them over, think of what you're going to do. Linda is taping this, so if you have you're wondering about it, you can go on our website and look at the slideshow again and decide, which 1, 2, or 3 workshops do I want, and sign up for them. Kristen has her hand up. Yes, Kristen.
I just wanted to mention that everything is on the website now. There is the main page that says meeting dates, and it gives you the whole year at a glance, each month, what topic and times. And then under the events page is where you'll find the different workshops to sign up for. And members do not need to register for the lectures except for the Debbie Griff Quilt Show one. The rest are free with your membership. And then the workshop registration for members is live now.
Excellent. Thank you, Kristen. That's wonderful. So
And Jan,
those
Jan?
are going to be open for members first, and we haven't opened them for guests yet. I can't help thinking that the 3 that we've got should sell out pretty fast.
Jan?
Yes.
I just wanted to make a mention that the login for the protected area of the website where you do register for these is still the same as last year. That gets changed on February 1st. So at this point, if members haven't renewed, they can still access it with the password they had before. But after February 1st, they'll need to use the new website password that's in the membership letter.
Thanks, Linda. Okay, everyone. So that's my press. Oh, do you like my Grinch? Our December program is a Christmas party. So we'll have a lot more details when we get closer to December on what holly jolly things we're going to do. I have one request, because I'm the person who's putting together the bundles of things on cardstock for February. I would really appreciate it if you would let me know. Linda can send out my email if anybody doesn't know it. Just tell me if you're planning to be physically, even if it changes, don't worry about that. But at this point, if you say, yeah, I'm going to be there in February, let me know so that I don't make 70 handout packages and 35 people show up. There will be a handout PDF file that we will send to members who can't make it. But I don't know, I don't care if it's 100% accurate or anything, but if you're planning to go, let me know so that the set of packages that you get when you come is accurate. I don't want to run out too.
Thanks, Jan. So I'll send out your email and that information with a note that goes out after the meeting.
Perfect,
You're-
thank you.
I have a couple of follow-up things and I'll include that as well. Thanks so much, Jan, for putting all of that together for us. I know that Jan has had some help from Sharon this year, putting the program together for us. I also know it's a huge job, and Jan does it. It makes it look easy, and I appreciate all of the work that Jan and Sharon have done for us to put together this amazing year. So thank you very much.
Oh, I had one other thing. Thank you so much for reminding me. Sharon's not here today because she's away. Sharon is right now working on getting an arrangement for some free motion quilting sew-along things. So you'll hear more about that in February. It's based on sew-alongs that are already available online, but I believe her idea is to incorporate it into a group of our members who then support each other. So like almost like a sewing group that follows a program online and then compares ideas. So she'll tell you all about that in February.
Sweet. I'm looking forward to that. All right. Change my screens here a minute. All right. Kristen, since we've talked about the quilt show a little bit, and thank you for posting in the chat where the event is going to be held. It's at the Goodwill on Horton Street. Do you have any broad strokes information to add for us at this point?
The quilt show is at the Goodwill on Horton Street. Yeah, so that's where it is. We have the setup on September 7th in the afternoon. We have the show on Friday, September 8th from 10 in the morning until 7 at night with the lecture afterwards. And then the show is on Saturday the 9th, September 9th from 10 until 4 with takedown afterwards of the show. We're looking for volunteers right now. We have a couple of people that are the volunteer coordinators for different positions. And in the email that Linda sends out, she's going to list that. If anybody has some free time and wants to help out, please contact these volunteer coordinators and sign up. We're looking for people to do white glove during the show. We're looking for obviously setup and takedown. We're looking for people to be at the ticket table to let people in. And we're also going to have demos because there's a stage in the main room of this venue. So if you have something special that you would like to demo to everybody at the quilt show, let me know and we can sign you up. I think we're going to do maybe 4 demos each day. So it's not many, but if there's something that you just love and want to explain it to everybody, that would be great. I think that's all I have for now. Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay. Well, my email will be in the email that Linda sends out. So if anybody does want to follow up with me later, just email me and ask whatever you need to ask.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Kristen.
Yep.
Membership. Membership renewals are open at this point, and we have had lots of people join us again. So thank you again for signing up for 2023. You can sign up on our website, and you can pay either through Interact e-transfers or with your credit card online, or you can email a check, and all that information is on the join page on our website. And the website access for the protected area of our site. So for signing up for member only things, that changes on February 1st. And newsletters will only go to people who've already renewed starting in February. So hopefully you join us again for 2023. I appreciate everybody who's signed up so far. A quick note about the facility, the East Lions Club, sorry, the East Lions Community Center. I was able to secure the February, March meetings for 10:30 in the morning until 5. which again takes us back to some of our, when I originally joined the guilds, the meetings were part of the morning and all of the afternoon. And it gives you a nice long opportunity to sew together and learn together. So that's why we're doing some of our full guild workshops. I'm not yet able to book past March. So I can't tell you what time some of the other meetings will be, but I am trying to book as many meetings as we can for that fuller day. So hopefully I have luck there. I have also, we have the draw for the Quilted Boutique gift cards. It's a $20 gift card for our website spot, our website advertiser, the Quilted Boutique. And so I'm going to ask for a number. I have again the randomized list of members. So if I could get Brenda Maxwell, can you give us a number between 1 and 83? Sorry, between 1 and 85.
24.
24 is Joanna Shipper. So I will send Joanna the gift card. Someone has their hand up. No, nobody has their hand up. Oh, Sharon, you have your hand up.
Sorry, I just can't recall whether or not I paid my membership. So does the system allow you to, will it stop you if I try and pay it twice, or do I need to check instead?
It won't, but I'll check.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Sorry.
That's okay. All right, and we need the second, we have 2 of these draws. So Elaine, do you want to give us a number between 1 and 85?
46.
And that is Heather Heathcote. All right, so I will send those out. And hopefully you get a chance to visit the Quilted Boutique either in person or online, as well as all of our other website sponsors. And if you do get a chance to shop with them and thank them for their advertising support with us, I know that they like to hear that their advertising is seen and recognized, and that's always a good thing to pass your thanks along. All right. The only other thing that I have is show and share, and Carrie, do you have your mini that you can show us? I'm not sure if Carrie's still there.
So I guess I do.
Oh, great. I'm going to spotlight you.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe, why can't I spotlight you? Can everybody
Well,
see you?
I've turned on my camera now.
Camera, yeah.
Did that work?
Oh, that works. That works much better. Okay.
Okay. All right, not me.
Oh dear. I think we disconnected her.
Who are you trying to spotlight, Linda?
I was trying to, it's Carrie. She's coming back in.
Oh, okay, yeah, she did.
I think she disconnected accidentally.
Yeah.
There we go. Hi, Carrie. You're on mute, Carrie.
Mute.
There you go. You did it.
There we go.
Sweet.
Very bold, Carrie. I like that.
Yeah,
Is there
she
some-
says, yeah, she says she likes beachy things and bright colors. And yeah, I was talking to a coworker because I was just stumped completely. And she says, well, what about a beach ball? And I went, oh, yeah. Why not?
There's a lot of funky shapes in there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I thought I was really intimidated by all the curves, and then I thought, well, I've been sewing clothes forever, so why not?
Yeah,
And it came together this morning really quickly.
wonderful, wonderful.
And now I'm going to figure out how to undo me.
I get it there. I've removed the spotlight for you.
Yay, thank you.
All right. The only other thing that I didn't receive anybody's show and share, but I do have a project that I was working on. There we go. So this is can you see the flower? Perfect. Yeah, so this is the pattern is from So Kind of Wonderful, using the So Kind of Wonderful modern or Wonder Curve ruler. It's not their original curved ruler, but it's their newer one, which makes deeper curves. So this is a sampler that I made up. It's the flower pop pattern, which they have the full pattern. It was also in a magazine. Anyways, I was just making up the flowers from some scrappy remnants that I had. And I'm doing a class on ruler work. So I wanted to show some different basic designs on ruler work. So I've got a bunch of different things in that sample, both using the ruler and using their specialty ruler and using doing ruler work on the long arm. And thanks, Sharon. All right. Anybody else have some show and share? Lindsay.
Okay, so this is the door prize I won a couple months ago. And it was a little necklace kit that I turned into a little necklace.
Awesome.
Fun. That's lovely.
I'm
Very
done.
nice. And Rachel, you have your hand up as well.
Yeah, I've got a couple that I can show if you let me share a screen, Linda.
Sure. I will make you co-host.
Okay, you have to excuse, you're going to see parts of my basement. These are starting to lay out some tops that I've been working to finish over the holidays. This first one is the Omaha Modern Quilt Guild block of the month from last year. And I'm missing 2 more blocks to complete right there in the center where you can see the space, but it's quite a stunning combination of different pieces, and it's a little bit imprecise. Most of the patterns are from the Modern Quilt Guild, so it's been kind of fun to Frankenstein it together a little bit. And then the second one, I don't know if you guys can see this. This is In the Garden. It was a block of the month paper piece from Christy at Quiet Play out of Australia last year.
Mhm.
And I have it all finished. I just need to sash the blocks and piece the top together.
Sweet.
Mhm.
The Omaha Quilt Guild, I followed that block of the month as well. And one of the reasons I followed it is because Megan, who put the block of the month program together, she was my swap partner the very first year that I did the Modern Quilt Guild mini swap. Anyways, I just
fun.
love what they did with that and bringing members back to the Modern Quilt Guilds each month to use the resources that were there. So I thought it was a fantastic way to do. And you've done it. I just love the quilt that you put together from it. Sweet.
And they're doing another one this year that is a series of stars. They post them publicly on their blog. So if anybody's interested, they're publicly available, and they're quite interesting.
Great, thanks, Rachel. Anybody else have some show and share? Sharon, did you have your hand up? No, I think she's just moving her hand. Anyone else?
I had a question for Rachel about what was the guild that had the Omaha Modern Quilt Guild?
Nebraska, the Omaha Modern Quilt Guild. If you Google Omaha Modern Quilt Guild, you'll very quickly get to their blog and their guild site.
Mhm.
I can include that in the email that goes out as well.
Mhm.
And the other quilt that you did with the white background that was all paper pieced, the people who did that one, or this year they're doing one called Under the Sea that they've started.
Yeah,
Is that the seashells, Nora?
Yeah.
yeah.
I signed up for that. I really love it. I've got
Isn't it
the
gorgeous?
first month.
Even got a mermaid.
Yeah.
Christy at Quiet Play does amazing paper piece patterns. I've been following her blog for a while, and she really does gorgeous stuff. Just
I
another
really
example
enjoyed
of
the
how
blog.
accurately you can do things with paper piecing.
I really enjoyed the block of the month from her. It was well organized and delivered, so that sort of the administration of it was nicely done.
Yes.
It was a little bit on the pricey end of things. I think the Quiet Play one was close to 110 Canadian by the time it was all done. So it's not the cheapest, but the patterns you get, Jan, as you said, are just amazing patterns. And if you like to paper piece, you can often buy her individual patterns for $5 to $10 Canadian on her website, and she'll release them from previous blocks of the month periodically.
Mhm. She did also have a number of freebies. I signed up for the 1 year one. I've only done 1 year with her. But during the year, she had a number of freebies that came out also, you know, like 1 month she'd say, oh, I think it's time for me to give you this. And she does beautiful work.
And Mary has a couple of questions in the chat about Jan's PowerPoint to be sent to everybody. Yes, I can send that out. I can't send it through MailChimp because I can't put attachments on MailChimp. I can only send out what's there, but I can probably actually just copy the pictures over. So you don't have to have a separate file. So I can do that. The other question is, do we get a members list? We typically haven't sent out a members list in the past, I don't think. I don't remember us doing that before. Kristen, Jan, do you remember, or Maria? Do you remember us sending out a list of members?
No, I've never seen that.
I have a list from my first year, and it included emails, but I'm not sure if that was changed because of privacy.
I think that's what the issue was, Maria. I think that we did it once, and then there was some question about, and a lot of clubs and organizations I belong to where I used to get memberships, they all stopped it because of privacy.
Yeah.
There was a problem if you saved an Excel file on your machine with a list of emails. If by any chance you got a worm on your system, they could copy that email and then distribute the file. So
Yeah.
I think people are very cautious about those things now.
Yeah, the financial industry is very, that I used to work in, emails is one of the very more protected than physical addresses.
Now, it's a little more secure if you turn them into PDF files, because then it's a lot harder to copy those emails and convert them back to live links.
Yeah.
It's still
And Megan,
possible, but
Megan makes a good point too, that you need permission for that, and our membership form does not include permission for sharing the email, only for taking pictures or taking photos. Kristen, you have your hand up.
I just wanted to say, Linda, you could put that PowerPoint on the website so people can look at it under resources with the rest of the PowerPoints if you want.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Then it would be there for everybody anytime. That's a better idea. Thanks, Kristen. All right. Any other questions?
Well, in the context of having email addresses, I know I have Jan's, but other people may not have Jan's because they don't have that list. So I don't know if that has to be put somewhere so people can access it to let her know for next month.
Yeah, I'll put that in the follow-up email that goes out to everybody. Jan did say that I could put it in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Maria. Other questions?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you to Jan and everyone else that helped with the programming. It looks fantastic. I'm really excited for the year ahead. That's a lot of work that you've done.
The reality is, Maria, it's kind of fun getting in touch with these people.
It's still a bit nerve-wracking getting it all to pull together.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. Thanks, everybody. I don't have anything more for us. So I'm
I have one more thing.
oh, go ahead.
Another thing for anybody who's showing up in person to the February Guild meeting. I have a copy of Brianna Minardi Morrison's new book. And when I say new, I think it's in the last 18 months it came out. It's the one that was on the screen for February. It showed somebody sitting on a sofa with her quilt on her lap. I love Brianna's book. I read it from cover to cover. I love her minimalist style and her oversized scale use of pieces of quilting. However, she is a hand quilter. Now, I think you all know me well enough to know that I have not the patience or the skill for hand quilting. I know a number of friends who do beautiful jobs, and I love looking at other people's work, and I will never hand quilt again in my lifetime. I have done it in the past. I'm bringing that book to, I've already read it, and I mean, it's got more in it than hand quilting, but it has got a pile of stuff about hand quilting. So I'm bringing it to the February Guild meeting. Snowstorm might alter that fact, but I hope it doesn't. And Linda is going to be drawing from everybody who's present, who puts their name down, and somebody's going to get this book. And it is a beauty, absolutely a beauty. So somebody who loves that kind of stuff will enjoy having this book. It's coming in February.
Thank you, Jan.
Leanne really is a very creative person.
That's amazing, Jan. Thanks so much. All right. So I think that is all we have for today. Thanks everybody for joining us. I appreciate the time that you carved out of your day for this. And we'll see everybody in February in person at 10:30.
Hooray, hooray.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.